Welcome to Cracked Info, your number one hub for news on international relations, economics, geopolitical issues, tech, and EVs. If you are a returning subscriber, do not forget to like and share. Also, do not forget to hit the notification button to subscribe to our channel if you are just here for the first time. Let's get down on reports on Russia-China relations as they keep strengthening ties, a Brics tie continuing in strategic partnership. Over the years, America has tried to maintain its supremacy over national of the world following its diplomacy and high power dominance over trade in the dollar. Unarguably true but seemingly becoming irritating to certain nations, especially the Brics, is what we seem to be getting acquainted with. A trend that's gradually but continually increasingly taking the podium through a Brics push to see the West, especially the U.S., share this strength and power dominance over other world nations. But how does this Brics ties between Russia and China prove its resilience and power in the domains of economic cooperation, socio, political developments, and technological advancements, being neighboring countries coming under one agenda in the Brics? Let's take a look at Russia and China's ties and interests in bringing down Western dominance over the years. First, China and Russia share a mutual distrust of the West and disdain for what they see as U.S. hegemony in international affairs. This has had rising popularity in recent, a move that keeps gaining grounds following their relentless attempts and summits to bring forth a rebalancing of power through the Brics nations' agenda and summits, which seems to be attracting more and more nations buying into this vision. How close are China and Russia? The Chinese-Russian border, or the Sino-Russian border, is the international border between China and Russia. After the final demarcation carried out in the early 2000s, it measures 4,209.3 kilometers, 2,615.5 miles, and is the world's sixth longest international border. But what is the relationship between Russia and China today? China and Russia are each other's biggest neighbor and comprehensive strategic partner of coordination. They are both major countries in the world and permanent members of the UN Security Council. Both countries uphold an independent foreign policy and see their relationship as a high priority in their diplomacy. Later in May, these countries signed an agreement. The memorandums of understanding signed included an agreement to deepen investment cooperation in trade services, a pact on export of agricultural products to China, and another on sports cooperation. Fair to say, China and Russia generally cooperate with each other regarding Central Asia affairs. While they sometimes compete in Central Asia, those competitions are typically focused on economic matters and proceed in an orderly way within established norms. But why is the strong ties of these two nations, who in recent years have found their umbrella under Brics, an increasingly popular brand and force that threatens the West? China and Russia are two countries that share a mutual distrust of the West and disdain for what they see as U.S. hegemony in international affairs. In recent weeks, China and Russia are seen taking center stage as both countries look to deepen ties, just as a chasm with the West, on a geopolitical and economic as well as military front, appears to be getting deeper, according to some analysts. In a 3-day state visit by Chinese President Xi Jinping to Moscow this week, which began Monday, China and Russia's presidents were hailed as the result of solid and cooperative relations between the two leaders, and their respective nations get stronger, and comes after a determined drive over the last decade to strengthen diplomatic, defense, and trade ties. Just before the visit, President Vladimir Putin said in an article that, unlike some countries claiming hegemony and bringing discord to the global harmony, Russia and China are literally and figuratively building bridges. The Chinese President Xi returned the favor, telling AFP he is confident the visit will be fruitful and give new momentum to the healthy and stable development of Chinese-Russian relations. Could this be coming from their alliance and agenda as Brics nations, whose aim is to rebalance power and come up with solutions to our changing world? In a report published recently, it is said to be basically about certain strategic interests that are very close to both Beijing and Moscow at this point. For both Russia and China, the main interest is to weaken the U.S.-led international order. That's their primary goal, long-term and short-term. Talking of the Ukraine war, for both China and Russia, The war in Ukraine is both a challenge to that U.S.-led world order and a way to undermine it, noted analysts. China has held back from openly supporting Russia's war in Ukraine, but it has also refused to condemn the invasion. Rather, it has echoed Moscow in criticizing the U.S. and NATO for what it sees as fueling the fire over Ukraine. It has also sought to carve out a niche for itself as peacemaker, calling on both sides to agree a ceasefire and come to the negotiating table for talks. It is being echoed behind the scenes that the West is concerned that Beijing to provide lethal weaponry to Russia to enable it to gain the upper hand in Ukraine, as U.S. intelligence suggested last month. Ukraine's Western allies have signaled that any move to do so would be a red line and that, should Beijing cross it, there would be consequences in the form of sanctions placed on China. However, Beijing has outrightly denied such claims that it is planning on supplying Russia with any military hardware. China's Foreign Ministry spokesman Wang Wenbin said Monday, reiterating previous comments, that the West was supplying weapons to Ukraine, not China, telling reporters that the U.S. side should stop fueling the fires and fanning the flames. It advised that the U.S. should play a constructive role for a political solution to the crisis in Ukraine, and not the other way around. If things are as seen here, could one say the West, America in particular, feels threatened by this China-Russian alliance and their Brics nations' agenda over the U.S.? But can America fight China and Russia at the same time? Fighting a war with Russia and China simultaneously would be very difficult. The international relations and geopolitical ties between these two nations and member countries of the Brics can be a force no one country may want to reckon with. It has been reported lately of a high state of readiness and modernization that will deter aggression against these two nations. Also, the fiscal year 2024 budget request of $842 billion will ensure that the joint force remains the most lethal and capable military in the world. As per the ongoing Ukraine war, China may not have offered help to Russia, but following its ties as Brics nations, if need be, China might probably be able to provide more support if they realize that the balance of power on the battlefield is against Russia. Bacholska noted, nothing can be said for certain, and America on its part will be a superpower for decades and will not bow to any dethroning by any nation, who of course would want to lose such power or dominance over world nations. We will be bringing you this and more only on Cracked Info. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more on geopolitics, tech, and EVs. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.